tables. So database testing, we created a table. Under this table, we created now one table called create country master. Now we create one more table through script. We try to create a table. So if I have to create a table through script, first is I open the new query window. New query is the left hand side. There is called query window, that is new query window. In this new query window, I need to select the database or I can use DB testing. So use is the command which sets the database. Assume that my database is set to some other place, say model. If I use testing, I execute. If I click on execute, after I write the command use DB testing execute, you can see now the left hand side has now changed to DB testing. Right, that means you are now under DB's testing. So under this now I like to create my table. So create table, I have to instruct what you want to create, because I can create tables, I can create views, I can create procedures. So right now what do you want to create? I want to create table. What is the name of the table? I say now state master. So what is the syntax that you want to, what is the ID that you want to create? So state ID. What is the type of name? A type. I'd say 18 numeric. Do you want auto increment? Yes, I want auto increment. So identity 1, 1. I need auto increment, comma. The next column, before I create the next column, I need to have a comma. The syntax that you see is the standard syntax followed in the database. So create table, within that open braces, generally you should not write it in the single line. Then I say state code, varchar. I say all codes in my database, in my entire database will have 20 characters. So I identify code as varchar 20. So identity is, it's not any identity, so I just keep it as a comma. Then I have it as state name, whether you want to allow null value or no, not null. So I say here not null. Here I'll say not null. Null is not allowed. So state name varchar, again 100, I say not null. So now I have created with 3 columns. You want to add more columns, you can add. Right now I don't want to add. So I close my create table script. So create table, state master, where you want to create, I am creating under DB testing. What are all the columns you are creating? State ID, state code, state name. I am creating with these 3 columns. That's perfect. I want to execute this, block it and then execute. That means only that command gets executed. Here the end of line you can treat it as a semicolon, that is also allowed, or you leave it as it is. So automatically it takes care of the end of the line. So execute, now I am going to click the execute, I block that create table, I execute it. Now you can see command completed successfully. Why you are putting identity 1 to 1? This is because I want the state ID to be system generated. As I explained it in the country master, I don't want this ID to be user managed. I want the data in the state ID to be numeric, and I want default it has to be incremented as a 1 starting with 1. So we will see it as we get into insertion of data. So first is we are now created a table, 2 tables. One is country master, another is state master. Now as I created it, I go back to my DB testing. I click on refresh. I say OK. Refresh button clicking is very important. So you can see now the state master is also created. Now state master, I like to now see design. I like to set the primary key for the state master. Right? Now in this state, do you want the state to be mapped to the country? Answer is yes, because I don't want a state to be an independent, country to be independent. There is no state without a country. So how do I map now? So there are two ways to do it. One is I can edit it here directly. That is not an issue. Second is I can now here I have already created a table. If I try to create it again, you can see an error message. Because table is already created, I cannot have the same table with the same name multiple tables. It is not allowed. You can see an error message. There is already a table, an object named state master. So I cannot do anything. Then how do I now insert a column? As I said, you can do it through design, or there is called alter table. Alter table. What is that you want to alter? State master is what I want to alter. What do you want to do? I want to add a column. What is the column you want to add? Country ID. So what is the type? Numeric 18. So now even though I am creating a country ID, it is not mapped to the country table. Mapping to the country table is called relational database. Without mapping to the country table, keeping the two tables independent is called database management system. Please remember here, I am going to execute now this alter table. This alter table will create in the state master. There will be type or country ID is the column that is now going to get created. I just going to execute that. I blocked it, execute. He now creates. He has now created. I close this. I close that country master. I refresh it first. After that I open the tables. I open the state master. Now you can see a design. You can see now the column is created. Please note, this country ID is not mapped to the country ID of, this country ID over here. I am now in the country master design screen. This country ID is not mapped to the state, even though country ID reference is there. Reference is there, but it is not mapped. So this state ID, first is I make it as a primary key. Set primary key. I have made it now. So now country ID, it allows null now. That means I can create without mapping as well. Right? So mapping this country to the state is called relational database. Right? Now this country ID that you are seeing in the state master is called foreign key if I map it. If I don't map it, it remains a field. So you can create a mapping or you don't have to create a mapping. This concept is called relational database. Now I am going to show you how to map a country to the state. That is called ER diagram. Right? ER diagram is the easiest place to understand the database key. So I go to create it. I selected the ER diagram. You want to create it? Yes, I said. So he is now going to create new database diagram. I right clicked it. You can see now there is a new ER diagram, database diagram. I want to add this. Now both has got added. Now you can see there are two tables. This is what precisely called ER diagram. Now you can see country ID and state master. Right? State master, I have not saved it, so I save that as well. So now it has got saved. So now I want to map this country ID to this country ID. There are several ways I can do it. This is one of the way. So I map it now, country ID, I am mapping it to this country ID. Now you can see there is a foreign key state master to country master is getting created. So country ID, country master, primary key table, country master, foreign key table, state master. I am now creating mapping country ID to country ID. This now current system is called now relational database management system, RDBMS. The main advantage is as we are going to see. So how do we know which one we are using? To be frank, in current trend, all databases are supposed to be RDBMS. What is the problem you get if it is not an RDBMS? I'll show you now. That is what we are going to now. Inserting a record. Under insertion of a record, how it is going to manage, we are going to see that. Is this part? As of now, any queries you can raise it as well in the question and answer session. Right? So right now what I did, I made relationship between the country master and the state master. And this relationship is called relational database. So the relationship, what is the advantage of making this relationship? What will happen if I don't relate it? We are going to see as we proceed now. This is the first important thing, foremost important thing a tester has to be aware of. So I want to save this diagram. I can save this diagram. Maybe I say DB testing diagram. This is my database. I just say DB testing diagram. Yes, all this will be affected. We agree with that. So now we have created a diagram. So as of now, what we have seen is creating a table. Two tables we have created, and inside the table we don't have any records. I just clear the query window now to just show you what is the records it has. To see the record, select star from country master. So if I execute this, star select is for selection, star is for column names. I want to select all columns, so star. From where you want to select from? I want to select it from database country master. So I am already pointing to DB testing. So under DB testing, country master, I am selecting the value. So select star from state master. So this also you can see now it is all empty. So can foreign key be null? Yes, foreign key can be null. That's not an issue. But there won't be any mapping data. Right? Since primary key is mandatory for mapping. So without a primary key I cannot have a foreign key. Whereas the foreign key means there can be many records in the country ID field. Whereas in country master it can have only one master. So I have now select country master, select state master. I don't have any data here. I am now trying to explain you what is the benefit of setting this relationship. This is called relationship database. For doing that, for understanding that, first you need to learn about what is insertion of data, how to insert a data. Right? So if you don't want null value, you can again go to the design. You can change that to allow nulls. You can remove the allow nulls if you don't want foreign key to be null. It is you can control that structure. So now I go back to my query window. In this query window, I like to now insert the record. First is I like to insert a country master. Insert into which table? Country master. So you want to know the column names. You can see that from here. So starts with bracket. So insert into is the command. Country master is the table name. What is that you want to insert? What are all the columns you want to insert? Country ID I don't want to insert because it is a identity. We have set it as identity. It will automatically create one after the another. So country code, country name. These two is what I want to create, insert. So insert has multiple options. I can select insert line by line. I can insert from another table. I can insert from set of records. I can do multiple ways. Now insert values. What value for country code? I say now India, comma, country name. I say as INDIA, India. One value I now inserted. So insert opening the braces, then column name followed by all the column names with a comma, separated by a comma. Then what do you want to insert? I want to insert these values. What is the values? Give it in the same sequence, country code first, country name second. Now I am inserting these two records, one record, single record. I now blocked it. I click on execute now. So that means this now country code is inserted. Now you can see, now select, you can see now country code, country name, you have inserted this country. It is done now. You can see country ID, by default he has taken 1. Now I want to insert state master. I want to insert record in the state master. Right? So how to insert a data in state master? Again insert into state master bracket. What is the syntax of, what are all the column names of state master? I'll come to know from here. So state code. Again I am not bothered about so-called ID because it is system generated. State name. I close the parenthesis, then I go to values. What is the value? Say Karnataka, KAR, comma separated, then state name Karnataka. I now save it. So I am now inserted the value. I want to insert one more data. I say insert. Since if you want to insert for the same table, there are either I can do it in this way, insert, or I can use union. Right? Union generally requires select statement. So we right now avoid that union, insert into state master. It is not case sensitive. So I now again state code. You can take a copy paste, that is fine. State name, values. Okay, I am not now inserted the country ID, right? So I want to insert the country ID as well. So I say now state name and then country ID. In this country ID now, I give it here, ID is 1. I should know what is the country ID, it is 1. It is a numeric, so I don't have to give quotes, so I can leave it as it is. So state name, country ID. For the same country, I am creating now 2 states. That is the main purpose of splitting it into multiple tables. Right? I created now values. This time I go with say Delhi, DEL. Comma separated is very important. Make mistakes, nothing wrong. When you are doing it, do with all permutations and combinations, understand the mistake. Otherwise, the learning will not be fruitful. Right? Make mistakes, see the error so that you know if you get this error, this is the mistake you have done. So now I am going to insert these 2 records. Inserting these 2 records, block these 2 data. I have inserted now. You can see there is a mistake over there. So he says syntax near 1. That means if I double click on the syntax near, you will get to the nearby place. and here I missed on the comma, right? So make mistakes, it is very important because you should not get afraid of mistakes. Now I insert records, both the records got inserted. So it is now done, inserted, records are now inserted. Now select star from state master. I run the script. You can see now 2 records got